What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you. Today is Flex Friday, March 31st, 2023, and we got 13 games going on in the NBA. As always, I hope this video finds you all doing well and in good spirits. In traditional video format, we'll kick things off with a quick recap over yesterday's plays. We'll dive into some injury news, and then we'll start talking about some player props. I got three that I want to share with you today, and then we'll use those three plays to construct a 6-pick flex. So if you're cool with that, you can get down with that. Stick around, drop a like, sub, and click the notification icon to be notified of all upcoming videos and content from me and my channel. And without further delay, let us jump into those plays from yesterday. All right, looking at our plays from yesterday, 3-1 on the day. Brook Lopez did not come through for us. And again, that play really hinged on the status of Giannis. I felt that if Giannis sat this game out, he could have very well sat this game out. Really didn't do anything. None of the Bucks showed up to play last night. But had he sat out that game, I thought Brook Lopez was in a good spot. And I definitely could see his prop getting bumped. So I was trying to take advantage of that line. And he was our only blemish on the day. Marcus Smart goes over 5 assists, ends the game with 8. Najee Marshall gets garbage time, goes over 11.5 PRA. I mean, by 0.5. He finished with 12, but that's good enough. And then Al Horford lights it up from downtown, finishes with well over 21.5 fantasy points. And that's 3-1 on the day. Definitely looking to build off this momentum. So I hope you enjoyed those picks. I hope you tailed them or one or two of them. Let me know how those worked out for you in the comments below. Let's dive into some injury news, and then we'll start talking about some player props. All right, injury report for today. Things can change in a heartbeat, but as of now, this is what we got. Probable: Day'Ron Sharpe, Dean Wade, and Doug McDermott. That questionable list is a little too long. I'm not gonna reel off all those names, but keep your eye out for Kawhi news. Doubtful: Jared Allen, Gordon Hayward, Ryan Arcidiacono, Cam Reddish, and then out: Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Halliburton, Julius Randle, Lauri Markkanen, Chris Duarte, Isaac Okoro, Keon Johnson, and Zach Collins. So let us now move forward and start talking about some player props. I got three that I want to share with you. Let's go. All right, we're going to kick things off with a fantasy score prop that I like from the Washington Wizards and Orlando Magic game, and it's going to be Denny Avdia. I say his name wrong every single time. When I was pulling cards and opening boxes and packs of cards, I could never pronounce his name correctly. I pronounce it the way I see it and read it. It's Avija. So if that's incorrect, my deepest apologies if that's incorrect. But we're talking about his fantasy score here: 32.5 fantasy score for Denny Avdia. Here's a few reasons why I like this prop. Number one, averaging 1 fantasy point per minute in games played without Beal and Kyle Kuzma. Over his last 5 games, Denny has averaged just a shade over 37.5 fantasy points, and that's inclusive of his turnovers. So we're already taking away those turnovers. So still giving you roughly 37 fantasy points in those games. Then he has a little bit of positive history here versus this Orlando Magic team. Back on March 21st, Denny put up 33.5 fantasy points, and that's with, again, turnovers are already accounted for in that score. So 33.5 fantasy points. He needs 32.5, or he needs over 32.5 today. So 33.5 definitely gets it done. Over on props.cash, we see Denny over his last 10 games. This is the game I was talking about back on the 21st. Gave you 15 points versus this same Orlando Magic team. Gave you 10 rebounds, but that's 12 fantasy points right there. That's 17 points. 3 assists, that's 4.5. That's 31.5 fantasy points. And then steals and blocks, gave you 2 of those. That's 7. That's 38.5 fantasy points. And then minus his turnovers, he gave you 4. So that's actually 34.5 fantasy points that Denny Avdia gave you on the 21st for a nice little fantasy score there. We only need 33 total fantasy points from him today. Those are some reasons why I like this. And as long as Beal and Kuzma remain out, a lot of this scoring, a lot of the production it's going to be coming from Porzingis and Danny tonight. So continue to ride that wave. I like 32.5 32.5 fantasy score for Denny Avdia tonight versus the Orlando Magic. Sticking in the same game, we're going to roll with Franz Wagner's 3.5 assists. Like the over, should have said that. I like the over, obviously, on Denny. Like the over on Franz Wagner's 3.5 assist versus the Washington Wizards. So currently, minus 130 on the over for this prop. Franz is averaging 6 over his last 5 games. And on the road, we see a slight drop in his production, but he's still giving you an average of 4 assists in those 5 road games. Positive history here versus Washington. So back on the 21st, he gave a 6 assist versus this Wizards team. Checking everything out over on props.cash, we can see that 6 over his last 5. Roughly 5 over his last 10. Here's that game we were talking about versus Washington. Gave you 6 on the season in 3 meetings. 8, 1, and 6. The last time I think we took his assist prop, we took it at 4, I believe, and he finished with 3. So this is a little lower. I think we can take advantage of this slight dip. For our third prop, we're gonna head on over to the Memphis and Clippers game, talk a little bit about Jaren Jackson Jr., and we're gonna focus on his turnovers today. 1.5 turnovers is his prop. I like the over on this one, and here's why. Jaren Jackson, we're gonna continue to attack the big man turnover narrative here. We just had some recent success with Karl Anthony Towns and his turnover prop. Last game versus the Clippers back on the 5th of March, JJJ committed 2 turnovers, so that gets it done for us. And then over his last 5, he's averaging 3 turnovers. And then this is something that I just, am kind of like rolling with in terms of my game narrative here. After missing the last game, I think we see an aggressive Jaren Jackson tonight. He comes out trying to score early. And that's all fine and well, but the more he has the ball in his hands, the more opportunity there is to turn it over. I really like this prop for Jaren Jackson Jr. tonight, the over on his 1.5 turnovers. All right, and for the final 3 plays to complete the construction of this 6-pick flex, we're going to stick with this Indiana OKC game. I got 2 Pacers and 1 Thunder for you. Let's start by first talking about Bennedict Mathurin over 20.5 points today. Here are a few reasons why I like this prop. Number 1, in 6 home games played without Halliburton this season, Mathurin has hit this prop 5 out of 6 games. That's 83% hit rate. Field goals increase as well, 13 to 16 when Halliburton is not on the floor, and then minutes increase as well. So when Halliburton's not there, we're going to see an increase in usage, minutes, and shot attempts for Bennedict Mathurin. Checking everything out over on props.cash, we can see this 10-game log without Halliburton in. Looks really good. 70% of the time, Mathurin has gone over this. Checking out the home game log, we can see that in those, if I can select the correct one, boom, there you go. So we can see that in those 6 games played without Halliburton, Mathurin has hit this 5 out of 6 times, averaging 24 points. Checking out those shot attempts as well. 16.4 in last 5 games without Halliburton on the floor. And then overall, we can see what those shot attempts look like as well. Scrolling back down, giving you 14 over his last 10, 12 over his last 5 with Halliburton in the lineup, giving you 9 and 10. So a lot to like here for Bennedict Mathurin versus an OKC team that ranks 19th in the NBA versus points allowed, 11th in shooting guard defense. 3-point percentage is very high, 3 points allowed is very high, as well as free throws allowed. So look, without Halliburton on the floor, he's a huge usage monster. He's the focal point of this offense when he's healthy. Without him, a lot of guys step up. They're going to get increased roles. Bennedict Mathurin is one of them. Give me the over on his 20.5 points today. Next prop I want to talk about is going to be his teammate Andrew Nembhard. We're going to talk about his 23.5 PRA. I like the over on this one, and here are a few reasons why. So number 1, we're going to see a slight increase in usage without Halliburton on the floor. We got a 10-game sample size here. Nembhard has hit this prop 70% of the time. So 70% hit rate without Halliburton on the floor. And then we got some positive history going for us as well with a 30 PRA performance back on January 18th versus this OKC Thunder team. So pulling up numbers for Andrew Nembhard over his last 10 games, we can see that there is a 70% hit rate here over PRA. We're going to go ahead and take out Halliburton and see what this looks like. 70% hit rate with and without Halliburton in the lineup. There's that 30 PRA performance versus OKC back on the 18th. Mentioned that we see a slight increase in usage without Halliburton on the floor. So let's go ahead and go back to the 10 games. We could check out shot attempts, giving you roughly 14 over his last 5 and 10 games without Halliburton in the lineup. When we put Halliburton back in the lineup, we can see that there is a small dip there. So I like the over on both of these props. All right, and we've had a change of plans. As I was getting ready to talk about Lou Dort's 14.5 points and why I like the over on this one to complete our little Indiana OKC correlation here. OKC was taken off the board as a whole. My second option behind Lou Dort was Evan Mobley, 14.5 PRA, and that was bumped to 15.5 PRA. That I thought, okay, that's not too bad. And then it got bumped again to 16.5 PRA. So I don't like that anymore. And so as my third option to complete this 6-pick flex, I'm going to roll with Austin Reeves, 4.5 assists today versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, bear with me because I had to go to my bench on this prop. I did not really have a whole lot written up for Austin Reeves outside the fact that he has hit this prop in 5 straight games, and that's with and without LeBron James in the lineup. But today he gets to take on a Minnesota Timberwolves team that's pretty much middle of the road in terms of assists allowed and shooting guard defense. We're looking for 4 assists today from Austin Reeves. That's all we need from him to push. We need 5 for him to give us the over here. He's gone over 4 assists. We can see in 5 straight games. I mean, he's just playing very well at a very high level. Last game versus Minnesota, last 2 games versus Minnesota, back on the 28th and the 3rd, finished the game with 3 assists, 26 minutes and 21 minutes. Like to see his minutes up a little bit more in this game, hovering around that 30-minute mark. But nonetheless, he's got weapons around him now. He's got LeBron James back in the lineup, and if anybody can convert a potential assist into an actual assist, it's LeBron James. So for our 6-pick flex, it looks a little something like this. We got Benedict Mathurin over 20.5 points, Nembhard over 23.5 PRA, Austin Reeves over 4 assists, Denny Avdija over 32.5 fantasy score, Franz Wagner over 3.5 assists, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. over 1.5 turnovers today versus the LA Clippers. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's final look video. Truly appreciate the time you've taken to stop by the channel and check this video out. Man, a lot of pivoting going on in this video. Makes it a little tougher to edit, but we always get it done. Drop me a comment below letting me know what you like on the board today. What do you think about these picks that we talked about in this video? Do you like them, love them, hate them, or do you want to leave them alone? And as always, thank you all so much for the continued support, the likes, the subs, all the comments. It truly helps this channel get a bit bigger every single day. Best of luck to you all tonight. Remember, it's Flex Friday. You got a protected play up to $20, so take advantage of that over on Prizepicks. Best of luck if you decide to tail any of these plays. Mix them in with your own. Hope it all works out for you. And until tomorrow's Prizepicks video, Chavez is